What's going on, guys? It's Greg here today bringing you a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay commentary. Today we'll be talking about Rohan Oilfields, and I actually really like this map. Most of my friends, they don't on the other hand, so I never get to play it whenever I'm playing with them, but whenever I'm solo, I do get to play it. And the reason I like Rohan Oilfields is I feel like it's a pretty easy map to understand because there's not a lot of verticality to it. So the overall spawns and everything are pretty easy to understand, and we're going to go over that in the gameplay here today. And I'm going to talk about what I'm doing as well in this gameplay commentary. If you guys are wondering about the class setup, it was in yesterday's video, so I will go ahead and link that in the description. Real quick, I guess I'll just mention it's pretty much like the Husher 65 silencer, the demo clean shot grip, the X-Line TV Pro high velocity, and the quick fire laser, I think it's called. If you want the in-depth details on why I'm running these attachments, feel free to watch that video, or the tunes as well. Anyways, my perks, I got bomb squad, so that way tanks, they have to two-shot me unless they direct impact me. Also, all other explosives besides killstreak explosives, I have resistance to. Double time, so that way I can get around the map faster, crouch walk faster, all that kind of stuff. Then I also have fast hands because I'm using a 20 round mag on this TAQ-V, and it also reloads kind of slow without fast hands. And then I have ghost, so that way I'm staying off of the enemy's UAV. Since I'm playing ground war, there's 32 people on the other team. There's a lot of chance for people to be running UAVs and earning those UAVs throughout the gameplay. So, as you guys can see, I am currently listening for footsteps at the A flag. I also know the various spawn locations around the A flag, which I'll go over in a little bit. And as you guys can see, basically waiting for a UAV to go up. Before a UAV goes up, I kind of just watch over the spawn points through the windows. But if I hear footsteps below me, I'm going to try to catch these guys off guard. Maybe if they're on a sprint, I listen for the sound of sprinting compared to just normal walking. And I'm pretty much at this point just looking at my radar. I see these guys are over there in that corner waiting for them to come around. This guy ends up peeking around that door, and then some of them start pushing up, which I already get my gunship, which was pretty early into the match. We're only about 30 points in. This guy, he appeared on the UAV, so I'm going to go ahead and take him out. And I saw he's, not making much noise. I figured he was either sitting or he was crouch walking, which in that case he was crouch walking. And right now I'm just kind of running through, trying to get people off guard. Since they keep coming back trying to kill me, but they're not very smart about how they're doing it. So it pretty much just means they're going to be free and easy kills for me, especially since we keep getting these UAVs rolling on our team. And I call my stealth bomber over B because a lot of enemies I know are going to be spawning on B, as well as they might be trying to go for E, so that will get a nice wipe on them if they're doing that. However, I only get a double kill, so that's kind of unfortunate. Sometimes I get a lot more kills whenever I'm using the stealth bomber on this map, whenever I do that, but it just all depends on the luck and how many people are actually spawning there. So as you guys can see, this guy, he's still coming back looking for me. I think I've killed this guy like 4 or 5 times now. And since the UAVs are kind of going away, there's an APC here. I was kind of like looking for an escape right there, but I couldn't quite get out there. I know there's a lot of teammates around here as well now, so this guy ends up walking right by me. Don't know how. But he need to use his eyes or something, I don't know. But yeah, so pretty much at this point I saw there was a way for me to get out of there. Again, there's a lot of teammates around. I don't see it as I'm going to be getting a lot of kills anymore there. And the APC was also rolling up, kind of hunting around for people, so I'm going to go ahead and switch out my position. And I didn't see anyone really playing here at B, so I figured they were probably pushed up towards E, especially because they own map control right now since they have 4 flags. So I decide, alright, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the push to E. Now, there is a spawn point below, in the alley below where I'm standing right now. I'm running around. But I decided to take the middle layer because I wanted to see if I could catch anyone off guard that's up here. And there weren't any tanks around here, so I knew that the open space, I wasn't too, unsafe with tanks, because a lot of times tanks can kill you if you're not aware of them. I thought that was an enemy, but it turned out it was a teammate. And I picked these 2 guys off. And I'm not going to hang around for too long up here because I'm looking and trying to catch people off guard. I know that they spawn behind me, and I know that they're not going to be spawning in front of me. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at where they're coming through. And as you guys can see, there are some people here spawning in behind me. They're trying to come back, try to get their revenge kills, whatever it may be. And at this point, I don't see much traffic behind me there spawning in, so I'm going to go head downstairs. I catch one of them off guard. This is that area where they could be spawning in at. Take another guy out from behind. I heard him take him some shots. And now I'm going to go ahead and rotate back towards B. Our team has regained map control, which heavily condenses the spawns to A and B, as well as the spawn helicopter, you know, any squad spawns, all that kind of stuff. But I know the main spawns, if people aren't spawning on their teammates, it's going to be around A and B. So I'm going to go ahead and make my way back to A and B. And I hear someone shooting above me, so I'm looking, and then I see he's on the roof. So I go ahead and take him out. And now I'm just going to work my way back to B again, and just keep listening, seeing if there's anyone around, shooting, anything of that nature. And this is a little risky going up top here, because sometimes people just wait and they watch people run in through the bottom. But I was pretty lucky there, and I ended up taking these two guys out. And I think I'm like 1 or 2 kills off an MGB now. And I see these guys just lurking out in the open field. And I'm checking that because, well, you never know. I think I heard some shots, all that kind of stuff going on. So always check behind as well whenever you get up top. Make sure the area is clear so you don't get sniped through a window. And to pick up my MGB. Now that I've picked up my MGB, I'm going to go over the spawns for this map so that way you guys can better understand them. And I think it's a perfect time to go over them. So let's go ahead and go over those spawns. Alright, so as we can see, all of the Rohan Oilfields map spawn locations have been revealed. Now there is one thing I will say. The D flag I am not 100% certain on. And the reason I say this is, barely anybody ever plays at D on this map. It just seems the way it flows, I just barely ever see any traffic at D. However, the rest of the flags, I am pretty certain that those are all the spawn points. There's not as many on this map as other maps, so yeah, it's kind of interesting. But how this little infographic works is basically if the enemies are spawning at the EHQ, they will spawn on the blue areas depending on what flag they own. And if the enemies are spawning at the AHQ, then they will have the red spawns. So those are the spawns for Rohan Oilfields. And moving along back to the gameplay, as you guys can see, we're in the gunship, just taking out infantry. No vehicles are around, so I'm just taking out as much infantry as I possibly can. This lobby wasn't too heavy on cold-blooded, which means my gunship, VTOL, all that kind of stuff is going to do a lot of damage, which is nice. I enjoy that whenever I see a lobby that isn't so cold-blooded heavy, and it's a lot of fun. Now, the reason I spawned all the way in the back of the map to call my gunship is because if I die in my gunship, I could get kicked from the match. This is a bug in this game that has never been fixed, and it's really unfortunate because I would like to be somewhere else closer to the enemies, so whenever I get out of my gunship, I could get a lot more kills. But anyways, I'm going to go to D, and this is going to show you guys right now, there is barely anybody that ever plays at D. You can see there's like one straggler here, and I'm just looking, peeking around, see if I see anyone. I see someone all the way out in the distance. And look how strong this gun is in semi-auto, so I'm going to mount up and two-tap him 113 meters away. But this class setup I have with this gun is not for tapping. It's not for long range. If you do want to tap with it, you're going to have to mount up because the idle sway and the overall like recoil is not going to work out with tap firing. Anyways, looking for some stragglers at D here. And as I can see, there's a sniper glint. So I'm going to go ahead and dive to prone and quickly take him out. I see another guy just running by. Take him out. And another guy's running by. And I'm taking him out. And I'm looking. We can see our directional indicator where I got shot from. And then I'm going to dive to prone. So I was able to figure out where that guy was so fast. And now I'm just going to go ahead and refill. Always have a Betty and Stim on me at any time. So I could try to use them. Help me out. And I put that there because it's a little choke point, so if anyone walks by, they're going to get taken out by that Betty. Now I'm going to go ahead and resupply on the refill here. And again, if anyone runs by on this flag, they're going to get killed by the Betty. I'm going to go ahead up the ladder here on this flank. There's a teammate behind me. And I'm not too worried about capturing flags or anything because I already have an MGB. We win the game by default whenever I call that in, so there's no reason for me to even worry about playing the objective because we already won the game. So at this point, I'm just dragging it out, trying to get as many kills as possible, see if I can go for another MGB or gunship, whatever it may be. And I'm going to do that because, like I said, I only died one time in this gameplay. So at this point, I'm just looking around for people who are playing around the flags, spawning in around the flags, all that kind of stuff, trying to catch that traffic. And this guy has been playing the top of this area all game. I noticed that I saw him earlier in the match. I pay attention to names when I kill people, by the way, just because some people will play the same way all game, and it's pretty easy to kill those guys and, make note of where they're going to be. I saw that guy's playing that spot twice already, or 3 times maybe it was, so I know that, I'm fairly confident this guy's going to keep going back to that spot or playing around that area. He just feels comfortable there. So, as you guys can see, he spawned in at the C flag. I killed him again. And this guy is just full on sprinting, which allows me to go ahead and get a nice, easy kill on him. And I'm rotating back to A. There was a guy in his head glitch here. I didn't notice until I was already reloading, so that's kind of unfortunate. And I'm going to go ahead into the A building. And I'm going to go ahead and try to take these guys out. Missing some shots due to heavy recoil on a very small target to hit. And I take that guy out in the window, throw a Betty down to protect me, as I'm going to call in this stealth bomber. And the main reason I threw it at that doorway is because that's the main traffic, right? Depending on spawn points, most people aren't going to be coming through this side of the building. And then I take this guy out who's in the window with a sniper. He was looking somewhere else. Able to take him out, take guy out on a rooftop. Looking for some, potential helicopter kills, but that's a friendly helicopter, so it's pointless. And the enemies are not going to be spawning on B because we own it, so I can safely run across. The tanks seem like they're still a little far behind. That one's not really paying attention. And I end up getting hit by a tank, but I have flak jacket, so I'm able to survive. And since that's a heavy tank, I believe, it's not able to shoot again. So I am able to get the safety, throw down a Betty to watch my back, and I'm going to go ahead and call in this gunship. And the reason I decided to call it in here is to help out our teammates at B. Because there are a lot of vehicles surrounding B. So real quick, I'm going to take out the vehicle right there, and you guys are going to see that I'm going to start focusing on these tanks that are positioned up at B. Now I took off the APS, which is the trophy system that's built into the heavy tank, and then I'm going to go ahead and bombard it with the secondary ammo on the gunship, and then I'm going to go ahead and start taking out some of these other vehicles that are pushed up to E and clearing out the infantry that are also nearby. And that's pretty much how it's done. Every single time I get into my gunship, it's basically routine. I'm just actively looking for vehicles before I really engage all the infantries, let those vehicles respawn, whatever. And as you guys can see, I get out of my gunship, and now I am looking to try to pick people off. Now, this could have been 2 MGBs in one game. The only reason it wasn't, and I'm fairly confident to say the only reason it wasn't, is because my team was not actively holding map control, and the enemy team was actually holding map control much better than my team. So the spawns were not condensed, the locations of enemies are all over the place, and it makes it harder for me to figure out where the locations of enemies could possibly be, especially if there's no UAVs going up, because, well, there's simply 4 flags the enemies could be spawning on, plus the transport helicopter, plus squad spawns, all that kind of stuff. So it really just depends at this point, and I'm really just running around hoping to find enemies and engage them as I see them. That's pretty much what we're doing here, and we're in the final minute of the match. The score on the enemy team is already at like 230 some points. So I know at this point 10 kills with the flag situation is just not very possible, and it's going to be very unlikely that I even see that many people for the rest of the game. So I'm just going to go ahead and call in the MGB, and we're going to end the game from there. So that is 104 kills, 1 death on Rohan Oilfields, a little bit of the spawns, what's going on in my mind, how I'm rotating around the map. And it's basically just based off that spawn knowledge, footsteps, UAVs, all that kind of stuff. And if I'm getting shot at, those directional indicators that we get whenever we are shot at and what direction the enemy is shooting us from. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day.